Hey students, welcome back to the online English classes. Today we are going to continue with our discussion of the second chapter of the sixth unit. And this is the second video that has been made on this particular chapter. And the name of this chapter is The Talkative Barber. We have already had an introductory class in the last video. Today we are going to read the text. But before we start anything new, let us first have a look at all the things that we have discussed in the previous video. Long ago, there was a sultan whose name was Shahryar. His queen was a very good storyteller. So, she narrated him folk stories from Persia and Arabia. And I hope you remember the meaning of the words narrated and folk and also the origin of the words Persia and Arabia. The story that we are going to read is from the Arabian Nights. But before that, let us have a fun activity. Now you are going to participate in a guessing game. Here you'll be shown a series of pictures and from that you have to identify which of the pictures belong to a barber. Is this a barber? Or this? Or this? Now students, I think by this time all of you have got the answer. Let us see whether your guess is correct or not. Yes, this is the picture of a barber. And who is a barber? A person who cuts hair and shaves or trims beards as an occupation. So, the person who is standing at the back is the barber and the person who is sitting on the chair is his customer. So, when the barber is cutting the customer's hair or trimming his hair or even shaving his head, he's doing his job, and his job also includes trimming beards or also shaving beards. Like many of you must have seen your fathers doing shaving at home. This is also similar to that. Read the story about a man who cannot stop talking. In the city of Kashgar lived a barber who was a great talker. So, you see, this particular person, this barber, was very famous for his excessive talking. Famous or infamous, we don't know. Once the Sultan called the barber to shave his head. Now, students, you must be wondering that, ma'am just now told about your fathers doing their shaving at home. So when they are shaving at home, they are, they're cleaning the hair from their face. That is shaving. But why is it written the barber was called to shave the head of the Sultan? Let us see why. So students, now you have to understand the difference between these two techniques. One is shaving, where the hair from the head is completely cleaned, and one is trimming, where the hair is just cut short. Okay, so when your father shaves at home, he removes all the facial hair from his face. Yes, and how does he do it? With the help of a razor, and a razor has a blade. So the same way, a head is also shaved. All right, they also use a razor or a blade kind of a tool which is used to remove all the hair from the head. Now students, you are also familiar with this, all girls and boys. When you people were very young, some of you get your hair shaved even now. So whenever there was summer break, your parents took you to the salon or to the parlor to get your hair shaved, right? You remember that. Okay, so that is what shaving is. And on the right hand side, the picture that you can see, it is called trimming. So before Durga Puja, when you go to the parlor or go to the salon to get your hair cut, that is called getting your hair trimmed. The barber started talking non-stop instead of shaving him. So we already know that this barber is a great talker. So he started doing whatever he does best. He started talking, and he started talking non-stop. Instead of shaving the sultan's head, he went on with his stories and whatever things he was talking about. So the sultan got angry. When are you going to stop talking and begin to do your work? So you see, students, this particular sentence is written within the double inverted commas. That means this is a dialogue of the sultan. The barber replied, "You do me an injury by calling me a chatterer." All right. So you see, students, there are some difficult words here. Let us first see the meanings of these words. The two pictures that you can see are that of two people who have got hurt. Yes, you see on one side the person is bandaged completely and the other person has fallen on the ground and is crying out loudly. So the meaning of the word injury is an instance of being injured. Okay, so whenever a person meets an accident, that person is called to be injured. Okay, but injury has another meaning: damage to a person's feelings. Okay, so in the case of this chapter in the talkative barber, the second meaning will be applicable. So when the barber is saying that the king has done an injury to him, he doesn't mean that the king has hurt him. It means that the king's words have hurt the barber. All right. And what is the meaning of the word chatterer? A very talkative person is called a chatterer. In the picture also you can see among these three people, the middle one is talking and talking and talking non-stop, and the other two are, just quiet and they're wondering when this person is going to stop. So the same thing happened in case of the barber as well. All right. He was a chatterer because he could talk non-stop. For everyone says, "I'm very quiet." Now just imagine the sultan is getting angry on him because he's so talkative, and what is his response? He says that everyone thinks that the barber is and that he is very quiet. "I have 6 brothers whom you might call chatterers." So he now thinks that his other 6 brothers can be called chatterers. And what are their names? Now students, you see there are some weird kind of words in front of you, but these are wonderful words. The moment you say them with your mouth, you'll feel good. So these are a bit difficult, but their pronunciation has been given in the brackets. So you have to look at the words that are given in the bracket. But if you are writing the answer, in that case, you will write the word which is given normally. All right. So their names are Bakban, Bakbariya, Bakbak, Alkuz, Al-Nashi, and Shakabak. All right. So you see this word buck, buck, and buck, this is coming in almost all their names. In Hindi, you already know that buck, buck karna means talking too much. Yes. So here also, the barber's brothers also have this word common in their name. Bakban, Bakbariya, Bakbak, and the last one is Shakabak. Okay. So 4 of them have the word buck in their names. Next, he comes to the physical description of his brothers. One is humpbacked. So you see there is quite a long sentence. So let us first see what humpbacked means. Now, the meaning of the word humpback is having a back deformed by a sharp forward angle that forms a hump. Now, as you have already learned that a camel has a hump on its back, and the picture that you can see is of a person who cannot stand straight. So because of some physical problem or maybe because of old age, people do get a hump on their back. All right. So one of the brothers of this barber was also a humpbacked person. One is humpbacked, one is toothless, that means one has no tooth or no teeth. One is half blind, one is quite blind, one is deaf, and the other has a defect in his speech. And they're all great talkers. But I am the youngest of my family. Alright students, now see, we already have seen the meaning of the word humpbacked. The next one is toothless. He has no teeth. Another brother is half blind. That means he can see with his one eye. One is quite blind. He is almost blind. Another one is deaf. He is unable to hear. And the other one has a defect in his speech, which means that he is unable to talk properly. But they are still, all of them are great talkers. And this barber is the youngest in his family. So the picture that you can now see has been taken from your literature book only, and all the brothers you can see here. So with the pictures you can already identify, I hope, that who is what, which of them is blind, which of them is half blind, which of them is deaf. All right. So these are the different brothers of the barber. Give him 3 pieces of gold, the Sultan cried, losing all patience. Now, cried is a word which has 2 meanings. I have already told you before. One crying is shedding tears, and another cry is shouting in anger. Alright, and in this case, the Sultan is shouting in anger because he's very much irritated with the barber's behavior, and he has lost all patience. Let us see what patience means. You can see in this picture, the man is sitting quietly in a meditation pose, alright? And he is learning the art of patience. And what is patience? The capacity to accept or tolerate delay, problems or suffering without becoming annoyed. Alright? So, if I give your example, when you people give a class test or any kind of exam, the day you give your exam, after 2 hours, you start asking your teachers, ma'am copy, sir copy, ma'am copy, sir copy. That means you don't have patience. So you have to tolerate and you have to wait. All right. And many times your teachers have also told you to be patient. Yes. So this is what patience means. Give him 3 pieces of gold. Why gold? Because the time we are talking about, at that time, they did not have currency like we have now. So they did not have notes. All the transaction they used to do was in terms of gold and silver. Okay. So the Sultan cried and said this, he losing all patience, and send him away. I will not be shaved today. He also says that the barber should be sent outside and that he will not be shaved on that particular day. All right, students. So today let us discuss only till here. In the next video, we will talk about the subsequent part of the chapter. Now, let us have a quick recap of everything that we have discussed till now. The Sultan ordered a barber to shave his head. The barber was a big chatterbox, which angered the Sultan. So, a chatterbox is a person who talks a lot. The barber tells the Sultan about his brothers who are more talkative than him. He also talks about their physical characteristics. So we saw that the barber is not just telling the Sultan the names of his brothers, but he's also telling him about their physical characteristics. The Sultan impatiently orders him to go away. Now that we have had our recapitulation and also we have discussed quite a bit, it's time for you to answer some questions. Which city did the barber belong to? This is question number 1. Question number 2. Why is the barber called a chatterer? Number 3. What was the purpose of the barber's visit to the palace? Number 4. Write down the names of the barber's brothers. All right, students, these are very easy answers. If you still have any problem in answering these questions, read the chapter and watch the video once again. All right, then, with this, we come to the end of our discussion of the second part of this chapter. In the next video, we'll continue with the third part. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.